So I think by now we've all seen the disastrous, ill-fated meeting that happened in the Oval Office yesterday with President Trump, Vice President Vance, and President Zelensky of Ukraine. Um, I wanted to actually use this as an opportunity to speak on JD Vance very briefly. So I won't bury the lead here. I think JD Vance is a piece of shit. He, in my opinion, is the one that instigated that meeting going all the way to the left. My little psychoanalysis of him is that he is pretty insecure in his position as VP. And you could argue that most people that run for political office are insecure in some way. Insecure, but also a mix of arrogance as well. But he's insecure for a very specific reason. So there are a number of things going on here. He is surrounded in the cabinet and by Trump and by Musk with people that are self-made in the sense that we know their names on the basis of things they did individually before they even entered politics. JD Vance, on the other hand, is the political, let's say, sugar baby of Peter Thiel. So everything he has, he more or less owes to Peter Thiel. Yes, he went to school at Yale Law School, and after that, he contacted Peter Thiel, and that's how they got in connection. But he is surrounded by men like Trump, who made a name for himself as a reality TV star and also a socialite, if you will, in New York. Elon Musk doesn't need an introduction. A lot of the cabinet picks for Trump are people that were famous or well known in their own fields, independent of politics. And JD Vance is trying to make himself very prominent in this role because he wants to solidify his political positioning to run for president in a post-Trump world. It's no secret that Trump has not come out and said that he wants Vance to be his predecessor. That could be for a number of reasons, one of which I think is that Trump does not really consider anyone his heir apparent unless that person's name is Barron, Donald Jr., or whatever the hell the other one's name is. I believe it's Eric. So Trump is not a kingmaker. Everyone that was in Trump's previous cabinet was someone that ended up being burned by him in some capacity, and that includes Vice President Pence. So with that all being said, JD Vance is trying to solidify his place by, one, being more prominent of a vice president. Why? Because the criticism a lot of people had on the right, especially of Kamala Harris, in addition to a lot of other things, was that she was not very prominent. Where was she the last 4 years? JD Vance does not want that on him, so he wants to come out of the gate and be very prominent as a vice president. So the way he's going about doing this is being very dominant on Twitter, getting into the whole culture war nonsense, giving his opinion and mouthing off and basically aping a lot of the things that Trump does. If you're not familiar with JD Vance, before he was very much a never Trumper, we should never go there. But once power started sniffing around, he decided to change full tilt. So this is a person that doesn't have any political or moral ideology that he sticks to. He just goes where the power is. So that's why now not only is he backing Trump, but he's even mimicking a lot of like the bellicose, belligerent, rude behaviors that Trump is known for, to ill effect, in my opinion. So he can make a name for himself and he won't get on Trump's bad side. The issue Vance is having, though, is that because Trump is surrounded by a lot of people that were famous in their own right, namely Elon Musk, his play to be seen and be loud and out there is not really working because everyone is focused on Elon Musk. Everyone is focused on Trump. So he is doing more and more to let himself be seen. And it's very obvious and it's very pathetic, in my opinion. And honestly, the reason why I think he's so thirsty for this, besides all of the other stuff of, people wanting political power and wanting to make a name for themselves, is, like I said, he is basically the political sugar baby of Peter Thiel. And also, it's because of his background. So, yes, JD Vance, he ascended from that, working class Appalachian, you could say even, left behind group of people. And I'm not saying that as a diss. It is really unfortunate what is happening in Appalachia, but left behind group of people. And that carries with it an insecurity, especially when you go to places like Yale and Harvard. You are going to be classmates with people that were born into this. The things that JD Vance has to learn how to do, these people have it by instinct because this is the environment they grew up in. So he is constantly having to prove himself. A lot of people, are very strategic in these circles, and they go and try and marry a Kennedy, a Vanderbilt, or marry like a Bloomberg, someone that is dominant in American politics or American business. But let's be honest here. He came from a background where there was drug abuse, single parenthood, poor, et cetera, et cetera. He worked his way up to be at Yale. But how many women from those backgrounds are going to marry a JD Vance at that stage in time? It's not going to happen. So he is basically someone that you're witnessing, someone that has had to scrap and scrape for every little thing that they've had, more or less, until this benefactor came into their life. And they are not going to fuck it up by, going against President Trump and doing anything that could jeopardize the potential presidential run. However, I think it's ultimately going to fail for him. And the reason why I think it's going to fail is because Trump is not a kingmaker. Trump finds a way to cannibalize everyone that he has ever worked with. I was listening to Fareed Zakaria earlier today, and he said about Trump's deal-making strategies is that Trump makes deals in such a way that people never want to make a deal with him again, meaning he essentially burns bridges. So Vance is trying so hard to be in the spotlight, and he has Elon Musk to compete with. He's got Doge to compete with. He's got Trump's big personality to compete with. So he is trying so much to be in that limelight and be in this spotlight. So this is why you're seeing him act out in this way that to me is insane. And honestly, yeah, Trump misbehaved in that meeting, but the thing is, like, Trump is Trump. Like, love him or hate him, this is how he acts. But JD Vance is intentionally trying to stir shit so that no one will forget about him, that, hey, I'm in the room too, hey, I'm here too, hey, I'm relevant too. And you're really seeing the actions of a desperate man that really wants to make it, and he really wants to make a name for himself for something that he can say that I was able to do, because everything else in his life, aside from ascending to going to his school, has been because Peter Thiel poured money into him. He won the Senate race in Ohio because Peter Thiel poured money into him. He wrote the Hillbilly Elegy thing, which even that, people in Appalachia, people in West Virginia, Ohio, some of those people are like, this is actually BS. He made the region look bad. He made the women look immoral. He did a lot of like shady shit so he could differentiate himself as someone that, like, wow, look at what I came out of. So you're looking at someone that is a desperate and pathetic social climber and will do anything, including disrespect a sitting president of another country just so he could seem relevant. And yeah, like I said, I don't think it's going to work out well for him because he just doesn't have the charisma of a Trump. He's trying to get that riz, as they say, but he just doesn't have it. He's very much looks like someone that's aping and trying to mimic things that come naturally to a Trump. Like I said about Trump, whether you love him or you hate him, he has a special type of charisma that makes people that even dislike him be fascinated with him. And Vance just doesn't have that. He just seems desperate, conniving, willing to do anything, willing to say anything, willing to be anything in order to make it politically. And it's going to backfire because even MAGA, even the people that are MAGA, pro-MAGA, the reason why they're so pro-MAGA is because they love Donald Trump and they see him as someone that is authentic and tells it like it is. Vance doesn't got that. That's why he's resorting to this like bullshit that he pulled in the Oval Office yesterday. So that was my 9-minute rant about JD Vance. I've been wanting to get into his ass for a minute, so there you go.